understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, April 20th, 2019. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have, oh my god, so many episodes this week. I wasn't mentally, emotionally, psychologically prepared, but we had five new episodes.
Five, including one penultimate episode.
Ed, you seem excited this week. That was a good intro.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Easter week. We're recording this on Holy Saturday.
Holy Saturday, Batman. Is that what we're? No, I'm so. Oh my god. So sorry.
Hey, I did it first. You should have seen the dirty looks my mother was giving me on Holy Thursday. So yeah. Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome to DC TV.
We're here for you.
Yes. We're all here for you. Thank you. We had some good tweets this week. Really liking the audience response, the community going on. If you have something extended, drop us a line. We do have an email people can go to, dctv@wickedtheory.com. And if you have Apple Podcasts or Google Play or anything that offers you the chance to rate and review our show, please do, because that helps people find us. That's yeah. So getting that stuff out of the way first.
Compliment Ed on his comics knowledge. Compliment me on getting out of the way when Ed has comics knowledge to share.
Oh, Sara. So you're all the fun in the show. You are. You really are.
I'm the jester. It's fine.
I think I might go see Shazam again today.
My nieces are in the area, and I know they desperately wanted to see Shazam with me, and it didn't work out because I had to see it to record our podcast for it, and that didn't work out. But they're back, and I was like, oh, maybe I could be the cool aunt and take it because they've seen it since then, and we could all go. We're gonna see Avengers together. They're coming back, so we're all gonna go do that.
Yeah.
So yes, I am going to see the 3-hour-long movie with 2 small children. Not smart.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. So if you get a chance, go see Shazam this weekend, because next week Avengers will be the only movie that anyone will be allowed to see, because that's all of the theaters.
It's true. You'll be met with armed guards at the theater if you try to go into any other screening than Avengers. So.
I think they will need every screen to handle the demand. Yeah, it's gonna be insane. Yeah, you're gonna be getting showings like every 15 minutes. But yeah. So that's the talk there. We've got stuff going on, lots of stuff going on. We got 5 shows back this week, so we're back into full form, and we're coming into the home stretch. May, I think this is May's coming up. This is going to be the big burst where all the shows come to a head. We got Gotham ending next week. We got iZombie coming up in 2 weeks. And we got tons of news, some depressing news, but important news that you need to be aware of. So make sure you listen to the entire show.
Yeah, none of the skipping out of your homework. Gotta be the whole thing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Sarah, are you ready to dive in? You ready to just jump into the recaps?
Better because we have some episodes to talk about.
All right, so we're gonna stick to it. We're gonna be tight, but it's gonna be fun. All right, starting off, first show up is DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 4, Episode 11, Seance and Sensibility. The Lady Legends traveled to Bath, England in 1802 to prevent Jane Austen from giving up her writing career. While struggling with her feelings for Nate, Zari had a fling with a coachman who turned out to be the Hindu love Kamadeva. Ray snuck Nora onto the Wave Rider and they had a slumber party in his room. Nate was nervous to give a toast at his dad's wake until Constantine sensed Hank's spirit trying to reach Nate. Last minute reveal, Constantine saw Desmond's reflection in a mirror and realized the man he loved was now the demon Neron.
So I think anybody who's listened to the show even lightly and has heard me talk about things will not be surprised to hear I loved this episode so much. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, it's just I had some weird connections because I don't know if people may or may not know my mother is an Anglophile. So her two idols are it's like Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, and then you got like the Brontes like right below that. So this episode got her all kinds of upset.
I thought Jane was great in this episode.
I thought she was too, but my mother checked out right before like the scene to watch. I think because she started. I gotta, we'll see. And also, my sister met her husband when they were working together at a Himalayan art museum. So the fact that this involved a Hindu love god was a weird turn of events.
So this was odd viewing in the O'Hare household is what you're saying?
Yes it was. Yes. Strange connections.
Well, if your mom was like me in that wedding scene, she was like, oh no, this would never have happened. No. And then, oh, okay, something else is going on here. Okay. Really? Did Anglican church weddings didn't suddenly turn into orgies? That wasn't a thing? Well, no, I kind of meant even the like calling things off at the altar. Forget about the gender of the person you were calling it off for. Like, no, that doesn't. No, but yeah. Then when it became an orgy, I was like, oh well. Okay.
This is oh.
Oh, I am into this. Was this the sexiest episode of Legends of Tomorrow we've seen?
Ooh, well, yeah.
Yes, Ed, yes. Those dreams.
Well, actually, we do have some tweets here at Bowerfett pointing out shirtless Ray, shirtless Nate. Maybe the DC TV report is being taken over by heaving bosoms.
Which is because I did a guest appearance on the Heaving Bosoms podcast talking about a romance novel last week, Can't Escape Love by Alyssa Cole. You should check it out. So yeah, it was funny that my interests all sort of coalesced this week.
Yes. Also at River8878. Okay, I usually don't like musical episodes in shows, but Legends never disappoints. Can't wait for DC TV, for Sara and Ed to gush about it. We got a Bollywood number in here. This is
so good. and it was a Bollywood number, and it had lyrics that furthered the plot and helped with an emotional journey. And in the end, when you have Zari and Mona, who have such different ideas about love, relationships, and all of that, singing the same lyric together, like having the same emotional realization on their different journeys, I thought that was really powerful. This was fun and joy and hot and all kinds of things, and yet you bring it together with these twin character development arcs. It was just really well done.
Yeah.
Really well done.
And finally, at Bad Wolf Bay 87, our friend Steph, musical numbers and shirtless legends color me intrigued.
Okay. I have two thoughts. Number one, Ray Palmer started off on Arrow. Was he not the guy who also did Shirtless Salmon Ladder and sexed up Felicity Smoke? Yes, he was. So now he's this like bumbling, nervous guy. I'm not sure this is the same Ray we knew back then. Whatever. I enjoyed it. It's fine. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they're waxing his chest. It was weird. Thank you, Tanya Melendez, for pointing that out. It's weird. They missed a strip in the middle. I don't understand it. But he says Jim Jams. I don't care. Any other argument is moot.
Yeah.
Number two. Go ahead.
I'm sure it was the woman at the salon, just like, she threw them all on at once and didn't realize that she missed an overlap. And yeah.
My real person fic is she just was enjoying talking to him so much, and he's just so charming that she just like forgot that he's just so okay. Have a nice day, sir. Oh no, I forgot. Okay. Number two, really, really quickly. In the pantheon of genre superhero type musical episodes, this ranks pretty high for me, actually. Number 6, Umbrella Academy. Meh. Number 5, the Flash Supergirl overlap duet. Wasn't great. Number 4, Futurama. Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. Yes. Number 3, Sense8. What's Going On? Tied the whole show together. Great. Very, very happy. That was number 4. I did the numbers wrong. Number whatever we're on, I would put Legends, Science and Sensibility, delightful. Number 2, Magicians, all that Josh made me happy. Number 1, of course, Buffy Once More with Feeling. It's the granddaddy of all musical genre episodes. Okay. If anybody was wondering, there was a lot of talk about musical episodes, so I just wanted to get that out there. We go from Umbrella Academy last to Buffy first, and Legends is real high in that.
Yeah. I just recently watched that Magicians episode. It's really good.
It's really good. Okay. Ed, is Hank really dead?
Ooh, no. I think that Neron removed his soul, and that you could probably put his soul back in Hank's body, as long as they didn't have it embalmed, which may have happened. I don't know. I don't know how funeral services work in DC.
Washington DC or DC Comics?
Washington DC. I don't know what their beliefs are. If I doubt they put him on ice. They probably had him embalmed.
Well, okay. Here is where I am kind of a Yahoo, but the mirrors recovered, which is Jewish tradition, right? I don't think Jewish funeral traditions typically have embalming.
Maybe.
If anybody, you're talking to two Protestants on Easter weekend, so neither of us is going to be like super knowledgeable about this.
Yeah,
but
I'm actually Catholic, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Podcast over. Partnership over. Martin Luther is my homeboy. I'm sorry, I forgot. Ed O'Hare is Catholic, of course.
It's okay. I don't know. I mean, the fact that there was a wake at the house, I mean, that's sort of like Shiva, but then why was no one wearing yarmulkes?
There's that too. Yeah. I don't know. And maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they had to cover the mirrors so you could have the dramatic pull off to reveal Nora. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think maybe they're hoping we don't think about that.
They were not expecting a podcast to devote several minutes to this. That's fair. I will say Mick did not let us down, and he did wear a very deep V to that wake. I was impressed at the fashion choice on his part.
Okay.
In some ways, there was so much going on. I was kind of sad that we had the Constantine Neron reveal. It almost got lost for me in the middle of all the other emotions I was feeling in this episode. I kind of wish that had been more of a focus because it felt like an afterthought almost. But But hey, we gotta tell the story and we gotta move through, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure next episode will focus a lot more on Neron. Because
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah, because it seemed like the main story of this episode stopped before the last act. Because the last act was all Constantine and Nate. So I guess Zari and Nate are gonna be a thing now. I guess this is like
that happened kind of fast.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. But it really felt like that didn't percolate. Like Sara and Ava really simmered a long time, but Zari and Nate picked up. But you know what? I'm fully on board with Nate now. You win. I like Nate.
Okay.
I'm as shocked as you.
Okay. Is there anything more we wanted to talk about with this episode?
No, I loved it. No surprise. Yay.
All right. And was there any news for Legends?
Not so much.
Okay. All right. So moving on. Next up is Arrow. Season 7, episode 18, Lost Canary. In the present, Felicity struggled to convince Dinah that Laurel was not a lost cause, despite the fact that Laurel hooked up with Shadow Thief and began stealing stuff from mobsters. Oliver and Diggle cruised around Star City looking for info on Amiko's link to Dante. In the future, Mia was frustrated that Dinah and her canaries were laying low instead of taking the fight to the bad guys. Last minute reveal, Mia was rescued by Laurel, who warned her that she has a long way to go before she will be a hero.
So I enjoyed this Charlie's Angels without the feathered hair and casual sexism episode. This was fun.
Okay.
The show gave us a salmon ladder, and you know what? Sarah Lance is a really good second place to Oliver. I'll take it. The network of canaries, fun.
Yeah.
I was even happy to see future Laurel, and that's not something I ever thought I'd say.
Yeah, there was a lot of canaries in this episode.
A lot of canaries.
A lot of canaries. And this episode kind of, made me realize like, oh man, I wish we just stuck with Sara.
Yeah, I've long thought that. I really love Sara Lance. I thought she was great on Arrow. I liked her I loved the early interactions with her and Felicity when Felicity's still pining for Oliver. I thought her guilt and her redemption was really good. I have always really loved Sara Lance, and I know that's not the case for everybody in the fandom, but I always really have. And I think, yeah, when you hold her up next to Laurel, it's just no contest.
And it was another one of those things, where like a character's been gone for a while and then they show up and you realize like, oh man, that's right. This show was awesome when they were on it. That's like when Joe West came back on Flash. It's like whenever Cat Grant comes back to
oh, you read my mind, Cat Grant on Supergirl.
Yeah. And it's the kind of thing. It was still a good episode, and I think it was a great swan song for Laurel, for Laurel's character. And like they finally made a sensible decision, like, okay, I should go home. And
yes, you should.
Yeah, and I think this is just for my sanity, so I could just stop screaming away from the microphone.
But Ed, what if she tries to be a lawyer in her home Earth? What if she's like, yeah, I went to law school on the other Earth, so I'm your DA now?
She did not go to law school.
I know that, and you know that. People on her Earth don't know that. She did not go. BT Dubs, I have still not watched The Code. I will get to it. I swear. Speaking of not going to law school.
So yeah. I love like at a certain point it's like, why did you even there's like Oliver in this episode. Why did they even bother showing us that storyline? Because nothing.
I think it's so crying babies on the internet couldn't be like, this is called Arrow. Why didn't you show Arrow? Because I saw some of that. It was so many women. Calm down. It's called Lost Canary. What'd you expect?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. There was so little Oliver. All I needed was him sitting on that really uncomfortable couch in their house at the end to be like, hey, come on, you had a rough day. That couch looked really uncomfortable. So yeah, kind of like I talked about with Legends, I felt like there were certain storylines that got a little shoehorned in. I didn't need. I just the women would have been fine. And Oliver on the periphery of that storyline being like, well, Laurel, she's been through some stuff or whatever, would have been fine. But
yeah. Have him fall in a well or get lost in a mine shaft. It's just because it was such filler because they're not learning anything they don't already know. And I don't even understand who Diggle is beating up and why.
Honestly, I remember nothing about these plot lines.
Yeah.
I was so uninterested in them. My brain has already kicked them out. All I remember is Laurel pulling a phone out of her bra, which means to me that this was written by a woman who understands our clothing doesn't have pockets. And so we're forced to do that. That's where I carry mine half the time because no pockets. So thank you. Supervillain costumes also do not have enough pockets. Patriarchy.
A couple tweets we got from @River8878. Loved Arrow tonight. All girls in the Felicity Sara Lance Love Fest. And @Bowerfett. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Pinky? It's time to take over the podcast. City, world. Okay, maybe just this tweet. And that's referring to my new favorite name for a wannabe mobster, Pinky Santorini.
Do you think it's because he cuts off pinkies?
Maybe he's missing a pinky. I don't know. Does he have? Maybe he has 3 pinkies.
He had pink eye as a kid, and he just never shook the nickname. Like, there's a lot of origins for this.
It's just who calls someone Pinky? How do you get that name?
He's a big fan of Reservoir Dogs and really liked Mr. Pink. I mean, there's a lot. You can come up with a lot of explanations.
Because you can't reject that nickname. Because there's nothing more embarrassing than turning to someone and saying, "Don't call me Pinky."
Yeah, if you have to say that, you've already lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed like but it seemed like he did run a good laundry shop, laundromat.
Funny. But no, I'm with I think the first tweet you read, the Sara Felicity friendship, it was so nice to see. The kind of teasing, joking, flirty banter. That was, as you said, Sara was great on the show. I was glad to see her back.
Yeah. And do you want to talk about the flash forwards? Do we need to talk about the flash forwards?
I mean, sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was basically me saying, "This sucks. I'm leaving."
Yes. And a lot of conversation about her dad, which she didn't seem to appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But interesting. I'm interested. It's interesting. Like, you got to learn a little bit more about what Dinah's up to, and the fact that she's kind of turned the Canaries into this. Basically like a macho version, not a macho, but a tougher version of the Girl Scouts. Where she's taking all these wandering teens and enlisting them and giving them a purpose by making them canaries. No, nothing.
Yeah. No. Well, actually, I was trying to remember who said it on Twitter. But they made a point that it's funny, you've got this network of canaries, but when the time came for Felicity to have her daughter trained, she didn't call the arrows. She called it Al Ghul, which I thought was kind of interesting. So, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm not taking credit for this. Somebody said it on Twitter, but I thought that was kind of funny. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway. But I do think the idea of a network of canaries, women banding together, working together, even Laurel with like trailing silent younger canaries, cool. It's cool. If this is the flash forwards, great. Cool.
All right. Cool. Cool. Anything more you want to talk about with the episode?
No, we could transition to news. All right. Showrunner Beth Schwartz says Katie Cassidy is still part of the show this season. It kind of looked like she was leaving, but she assured us that this season she is still going to be part of the show. I thought there were a couple of things we could take from that. One is she definitely said this season and nothing about next season. So that was one. And then the other, Ed, you pointed this out off the air, but
yeah,
we're not going to see her in the present anymore.
No,
right?
no. I think she'll be part of the flash forwards. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, she made it clear that she was going to go back to Earth too. So, all right.
Which we applaud.
Yeah.
Go for it. So, yeah. Let's see. Second bit of information. The penultimate episode of this season is called Living Proof, which is a Springsteen song. Apparently, Arrow has had Springsteen song episode titles in the past, which isn't something I know of because I'm not super attuned to the boss. Ed, is Bruce Springsteen your musical, like, soul song for you?
Well, I don't...
Because of your geography?
Well, I don't live in New Jersey. Springsteen, like, claims New Jersey in as but Staten Island is as close to Jersey as you can get without actually being Jersey. So yeah, I enjoy Springsteen.
If in Staten Island you try to claim Bruce Springsteen as, like your musical, do you get walloped? Is that what? No, that's Jersey.
Well, actually, no. It's more the Jersey people get offended that we try to take him. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was picturing gruff dads like cuffing the backs of their sons' heads. No, he belongs to Jersey.
Yes. If you go to a wedding in New Jersey, Springsteen is always blasting, which is weird because most of his songs about people breaking up.
He just writes so true. Well, and what's interesting is apparently Living Proof, the lyrics are about a man sort of celebrating the birth of his child. So we've seen that already this season, the flash forward to them, the mini flash forward to them, the child being born, but that is interesting. So the other little bit of information is apparently in the episode description, it says Felicity has a warrant out for her arrest. So that seems to be a storyline that's long been simmering, coming to fruition. I felt like that was teased maybe 2 seasons ago, that Felicity did some hacking. But to me, that would be, if she has a warrant out for her arrest toward the end of the season, maybe that's how we explain her absence in season 8, if she's on the run, if she's in prison. But that could be maybe why we don't have Felicity for the final episodes. Again, I don't want that. I want her to come back, but just a thought.
Yeah, that would stink.
Yes.
But
and finally, at Armageddon Expo in New Zealand, Tom Welling appeared. He played, of course, Clark Kent in Smallville back in the day. And he said that he is going to be on Arrow next season. No information about what role he might be playing, but that I saw this reported on a couple different news sites, so I feel like I trust that. He also said he turned down playing Superman on Supergirl. Ed, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if I buy that. I mean, maybe if they were going in a very different direction with that character, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they offered him a role on Supergirl, but Superman doesn't make sense to me.
That's kind of how I felt too. Him appearing on Supergirl would have made perfect sense because they've been so good about honoring people who've been involved in the different properties in the past. But the way they wrote the character we see Tyler Hoechlin play, I don't think Tom Welling would have worked for that.
Yeah.
So, and as for Arrow next season, I never really did warm up to him on Lucifer last season. In any of the types of roles that they asked him to play on Lucifer, I'm not sure I felt comfortable with any of them, like the sort of badass cop and then the spoiler in the season and this and that. So hopefully Arrow knows how to utilize that. I hope that he's better used in Arrow than he was in Lucifer.
We'll see. We shall.
We'll see. And we'll see if this even comes to fruition. So
yeah,
that's it for that's it for what show are we talking about?
Arrow.
You get Tom Welling in there, you start saying super. It just happens.
All right, moving on to The Flash. Season 5, Episode 18, Godspeed. In the present, the team was devastated to learn Nora was working with Eobard Thawne and looked to her diary for answers. In the future, Nora discovered her powers and went to Thawne for help defeating Godspeed. Nora was furious when she learned that her mother had hidden the truth from her for years. Last minute reveal, after bringing Nora back to the future, Barry swung by prison to tell Thawne he was glad Reverse Flash would be dead in 10 minutes.
Okay. Who had a justifiable position this week, and who had an indefensible position this week?
Yeah.
In other words, do you feel like Nora was that a good enough explanation for Nora working with Thawne, do you think?
Oh, not really.
Okay, second question. Did Barry overreact?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Third question. Iris. That's my question. Iris? What?
Iris,
that's not good.
Yeah. Especially now that they established that, like, Iris remembers Nora coming back. And
I got caught up in the paradox of it all, because I don't think Iris is going to make the same decision, right? Like, moving forward, she's not going to dampen her daughter's powers. So if she doesn't do that, her daughter can't come back in time to convince her not to dampen her daughter's powers. So, and then my head exploded.
Yeah.
Then I went back in time and hit my own grandpa with a car, and I was never born. So, it's difficult.
Well, this is. I think this is the way it's gonna shake up. Where, like, Iris isn't gonna want to do that, but now we know that she has to in order for this to happen. It's kind of weird how that shakes out. I think just to clarify things a bit with Nora, I think she was wrong, but I understand.
Yeah. Well, she didn't have anybody else to turn to, and she was upset about Leah's death, which, by the way, justice for Leah. Poor Leah.
Yeah.
She looked like a great friend. So I get it. I was worried about how they would justify that, and I felt like they did a pretty good job. I mean, I get it. I see how that happened.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where Uncle Cisco and Aunt Caitlin are in this situation. Like, why?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That, maybe they would have been a better resource to go to. Although she doesn't know her dad was the Flash. I think that's the real thing that leads her to that, is that she didn't know her dad was the Flash. Otherwise, yeah, she probably would have gone out to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, she wouldn't know who to ask, because I mean, and that's the thing. I thought it made good sense. I have these speed powers. I don't know any metas. I have this meta in lockup. That was pretty well written.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. And also with Barry, I think that he had the right idea, but he didn't have to be so mean about it.
Whisking her to the future without letting her say goodbye to Iris was kind of crappy.
Yeah. I think he was right. She should go back. She should stay back in the future. That's probably for the best right now.
She probably should have gone back a while ago. I think the timeline is real messed up.
Yes.
Oh, the Allens. Never not messing up that timeline. Hey, speaking of the timeline, how is Central City clean and modern, and Star City is a crap hole barter economy nightmare? Like, how is that? Is that just Detroit today? Like, is that just the logical acceleration of stuff happening today?
Maybe it's local politics. Although,
I don't know.
Although we've established Central City has had a couple crummy mayors. I
just feel like if you're living in a country where one major city is on the barter system in these like fire pit lit marketplaces, but that's not a good sign for your whole country.
Yeah. Now, granted, this Central City is 9 years after the Star City we're seeing in Arrow. So, maybe things have cleaned up a lot in the last 9 years. Another thing that to note is Central City seems to be teeming with all of these chemical companies. you have all of these strange tech companies that seem to be centered that seem to be located in Central City, and maybe they're just boosting up boosting up the economy in Central City, and Star City doesn't have the same. I mean, they have smoke tech, but all of their tech companies are corrupt. And don't really care for the locals the way the Central City tech companies do. I don't know. I'm talking way too
maybe
much.
it's like a board of directors that's committed to ethical, responsible stewardship of the community, where smoke tech apparently is just like out to strip and burn. I don't know. I wouldn't think Felicity would run a company like that, but maybe that's the difference. Companies that care.
Yeah, or whatever company that they were infiltrating on Arrow a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they're not in it for the community.
Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I do like seeing the Flash Museum. I do think them having the super villains lined up quite so prominently is weird, but it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Also, like, those interactive exhibits are very informative.
Yes.
Like, it's weird that she goes there to research it, and like all of that stuff isn't already on the internet.
I also was interested in the choice of the narrator in those exhibits. This is Zoom. Zoom murdered everyone. Like, calm down, narrator guy. Read the room. Jeez. Oh, speaking of, I loved Barry being like, listen, I need to talk to my daughter. The two of us have super speed. Could you all leave the room, please? What? You have super speed. You guys leave the room. That was not thoughtful. You two zoom out of there. Let everybody else stay put. They have to walk like normals.
What did you think of Leah?
Oh, I loved her. My whole goal for this show now is for somebody to save Leah in the future. I don't care what happens. I just need somebody to save Leah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's weird because, like, I guess Nora didn't have enough tragedy, so they had to kill her best friend too.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's still refrigerating if it's to motivate a woman's pain, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, poor Leah.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the future stuff, though. I mean, they had enough future. I always like to see what these shows do with future tech, because I know they don't have a ton of budget to set things up. But I thought their wrist gauntlet thing were surprisingly big for the future, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Also, I love one thing I love is when she tried to stop that bank heist. It seemed like the Central City Police actually had that on lock. They didn't need her help. In fact, if anything, she just ruined it.
Hey guys, I'm here to help. No, please don't. I'm also always so impressed that CC Jitters is still open in the future. I feel like coffee houses don't last that long. Isn't the life cycle of a coffee house more finite than that?
Well, I guess it depends. See, it's weird because, like, evidently Jitters is Jitters a chain? I can't really.
Yeah, maybe is it the Starbucks? Is it because Starbucks will still be here when we're all nuked and gone? But
yeah,
I just feel like the local places. Yeah, so we'll just assume it's a chain. You're right. Let's go with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although it's weird that they have all these flash specialty drinks. But
that's why they stay in business.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, interesting stuff. Looking forward, so Barry took Nora. Do you think Barry is going to stick around in the future, or like what does this mean for Cicada? What exactly is going to happen to the end of that 10 minutes? Is that an execution time clock? And if so, putting that clock right there for the guy for the prisoner to see seems really mean.
I feel like in the future our Supreme Court has really loosened what cruel and unusual punishment could be defined as, because they're like hitting that dude with lightning bolts and counting down his execution time to his face. I don't know. That feels like some civil rights stuff there. Not to get all,
Well,
hippy dippy on you, but
at least he got Postmates to deliver Big Belly Burger.
And that was maybe his last meal, which is sad. I'm not sure I'd choose Big Belly Burger. Well, maybe I would. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Who can say?
Yeah. Also the fact that a guy on death row gets Wi-Fi.
Well, that's just a basic human right. I mean,
very, very progressive. Very progressive.
And yet weirdly regressive as well.
Yes. Still have the death penalty, but very progressive about it.
Iron Heights giveth and Iron Heights taketh away.
All right. Anything more on the Flash?
No, I think we've devolved from actual substance.
Okay. Was there any news?
Nope.
All right. On to Gotham. The series penultimate episode. Legend of the Dark Knight. They did what? Jim united the city to defend Gotham from the army. Oswald and Ed decided to put off their escape to help save the city. Bruce had an idea to repurpose Jeremiah's bombs. Nyssa held Barbara hostage and threatened to take the baby. Last minute reveal, Bruce looked out the window as his plane left Gotham.
Ed, are you ready to say goodbye to this?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, for some reason, I don't know, this episode felt very fast at the end. Like they wrapped it up really quickly. Because they wanted to set up the Flash forward. And I'm actually really surprised that it just ended with him on the plane, that we didn't actually get that time jump in this episode.
I was a little disappointed too. I thought maybe they would tease us with a glimpse at the future to whet our appetite. So that sort of let me down a little bit. But that's the only thing that let me down. Really, everything else was quite enjoyable. But I was like braced for, a Joker in the future or something. But that's okay. We have next week.
Yeah. And lots of emotional stuff here. Nyssa Al Ghul got away, and she got on that submarine with all of that gold that there's no way Oswald actually fit onto that submarine.
Would make it too heavy, wouldn't it?
Yes. But so yeah, that was but I thought the really emotional scene was when they confronted the army, and Bane commanded the army to open fire on the city, and the soldiers stood down and turned on Bane.
I was excited for them ignoring the chain of command, although I don't know that Bane is necessarily the chain of command.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like the people all standing. I like Babs leading the people back to stand alongside. I'm not quite sure what Jim and company were trying to do. I get the noble sacrifice, but it was effective. It was effective to have the whole city show up, even though I was like, wait, Jim, are you just going to stand there and get, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because there were so many hanging questions, like, what does Barbara do now? Is she just going to leave? It looks like Jim and Lee are together right now, or at least they're caring for the baby. Jim got named commissioner. Harvey's
Yay!
Harvey's sticking around. And poor Selena just gets left in the wind. Bruce doesn't even have the guts to say goodbye to her face. And just leaving that letter with Harper first. That seemed a little weird.
Agreed. The biggest surprise of this episode for me, honestly, I thought Barbara Gordon was going to be named for her late mother. I really thought that was going to be a posthumous in Barbara's honor naming, because Barbara was going to be dead. Was that ever going to happen? Did you think that also?
I also thought that. Yeah, I thought that was going to be the thing, that she was going to die saving the baby from Nyssa or something like that.
Yeah, I was pleased. I love Babs. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want her to die. I was interested. I was surprised. by that.
Yeah.
I did joke when Bruce was like, I'll take care of this. I actually said to Jason, "So you gonna release a bunch of bats?" And then he released a bunch of bats.
Yes.
Oh, Gotham.
Yeah, he used the Nightwing device.
Is he playing the long game, hoping one of them would give Bane rabies? That felt like a more of a long game thing, because I'm not sure just surrounded by bats is actually lethal.
Well, I mean, he's got that mask, and maybe they can knock something loose, and it looks like they did. They definitely frustrated him. But yeah, and the other thing we can't not talk about is Ed and Oswald.
I love those guys.
The bromance continues.
The hug with the knives and then the sneaky putting away of knives is perfect.
yes, and we decide that that we saved this city so that we can take it for ourselves. Yeah.
And I did like my eye, is it bad? And being like, no.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait to see what those two guys look like in the future.
I've seen it. Have you not seen it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It's online. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, but you'll have to all wait till next. I mean, like, you can look it up if you want.
Yeah.
We'll all see it next week.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing them in action.
Yeah.
But yeah, so No Man's Land is over. Gotham's,
they're rebuilding the bridges. We're making it work, and we're looking at a little time jump.
All right. So, and next week's the big finale.
Yep.
Yeah. And we get oh man. Damn. All right.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was a supersized finale, just a little more time especially with the future incarnations, but I'm grateful for what they're going to give us.
Yeah, and this is going to be the first show that we've covered that is going to end on our watch. Intentionally. And not get canceled and brought back, supposedly. So, all right. Any news? Anything more for that?
Yeah, a little bit of news, kind of big. This week's episode marked the final appearance of Cameron Bicondova as Selena Kyle. She's going to be replaced in the finale by an older actress, Lily Simmons, which I'm kind of bummed about. She posted on social media that this was her choice. She really thought about it a lot in the interest of the character. She wanted to make sure, blah, blah, blah. So they've cast an older actress to be Selena in the future. Ed, to me, it's weird that they didn't recast Bruce, but they did recast Selena. It seems like it would be one or the other, What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that was more David Mazouz wanted to come back. Plus also... It's also kind of like, to bring Bruce and put him in the Bat costume. I think that's one thing. I'm actually curious to see if we'll actually. I don't know if we'll actually see Bruce Wayne out of the costume. And also, if you're doing special effects to make that happen, to do that for another character, could get really pricey. And it's probably just simpler to recast.
Yeah. So if it was her choice, that's great. I'm happy to hear that. It didn't sound like there were sour grapes. I thought it was kind of interesting that they waited to announce it until after the episode had aired. So hopefully everybody's ending on good terms. I am disappointed. I was a little disappointed in Selena's arc this season. I feel like she just sort of petered out. We didn't see as much interesting with her as I was kind of hoping for. I know they didn't have much time. They had a shortened season, but I was wanting a little more with Catwoman. Maybe we'll get it in this final episode, but it's not going to be the actress we've enjoyed all these years. That said, Lily Simmons was Rebecca on Banshee, if anybody out there has seen the best fighting show on TV. And she's an interesting actress. I think she's a good choice for Selena in the future. So we'll see. Looking forward to it.
All right. And that's it for Gotham, right?
Correct.
Okay, last episode for this week is Doom Patrol. Season 1, Episode 10, Hair Patrol. In 1913, Niles got lost in the mountains scouting a creature for the Bureau of Oddities. In the present, the Bureau of Normalcy enlisted Ernest Franklin, the Beard Hunter, to find the chief. Vic and Rita argued their next course of action while the Negative Man plugged Cliff into Jane's subconscious. Last minute reveal, the Beard Hunter found a ragdoll decoy Niles and was attacked by the monster.
Oh, this episode was gross. I'm not the same person I was before I watched the Beard Hunter eat the drain, leaving.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
So that was a fun introduction to him, just going around the room and meet. I was trying to make sense. Who are we? That's a lot of. Is this a particular kink? Like, what is? It still seems like it was a particular kind of kink, honestly. So.
Well, I this is a guy living in his mom's basement. The whole situation surrounding Ernest, I thought was very striking, and just kind of he's this weird nobody deadbeat.
Mom, I now sustained myself on a ketogenic diet and willpower.
He goes to the grocery store, and this is the guy the Bureau of Normalcy pulls out. Of course, because, oh, man.
By the way, I 100% grocery shop like that, like angry arm sweeps in the cereal aisle and things. 100%. Well done.
Yeah. I do like that this episode takes place at the same time period as the last episode.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and it, it kind of gives them something to do. It's an interesting way to flesh out the story. I think Vic needs help. Like, Vic can't.
That's a big statement. Go on.
Yeah. If you don't have control of not having control of your body is one thing, but when your body can shoot lasers out of its hand, that it has an arm cannon that you can't control anymore, you need to stop. You
need to call somebody. You need to look at that Michael Jordan meme. Stop.
Yeah.
Get help.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. Your dad probably will shut you down and never give up control of you again. But
and maybe he should.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. But at this point, that might be the best option.
So just like a couple weeks ago, I was curious what the Jane Austen Doom Patrol overlap was. This week, I'm wondering about the Hannibal Doom Patrol overlap, because honestly, that Beard Hunter, like the slow motion single beard hair on the floor scenes were so lovingly and beautifully shot. It felt like watching a weird kink version of Hannibal, the NBC TV show, which itself was kind of a weird kink version, anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
If anybody out there is also a Hannibal person, please tell me you also noticed sort of a similarity in how things were shot. And I don't know, it was weird, loving. And did you watch Hannibal?
Yes, I did.
Oh, did you? Do you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm so relieved it's not just me.
Yes. Blood never looked so beautiful as it did on that show.
There is nothing like a Brian Fuller show. Yeah.
But but that definitely. I could see what you mean. Just kind of like the way that hair fell off of his beard, and Beard Hunter hunting for it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for validating me.
Yes. Now, let's talk about the love story in this episode. The outrageous. This has to be the strangest work that Timothy Dalton has ever done.
He seemed really game, T-Dalt went for it.
And I think if you'd looked at the Chief and say, what do you think is his backstory? You could have come up with some odd stuff, but I doubt that you'd come up with this weird kind of Jack London acid trip.
Jack London wishes he'd written this story.
Yeah. Getting first of all, how old he is, that he looks like he's in his 50s in 1913.
I love that every single person in this show is ancient but looks 30.
Like, evidently now, if you come into contact with Niles Calder, you are immediately granted immortality.
I'll take it. That's cool. But yeah, I'm with you. I was not expecting a great love story, and yet we got one. It had kind of a tragic end. I mean, when he went back to society, I was sad when his partner showed up. It was like, ruined a good thing.
Yeah. Also, that injury was really gnarly when he had that thing stuck in his leg, and and it's the kind of thing where I like the makeup on that creature, and she's not a creature, but that I don't know. I think this was a very interesting way to show beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that even something that may not be aesthetically pleasing, you can find beauty and love in that person. I found it very heartfelt.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice sentiment. Yeah, and I kind of liked the language aspect as well. The, how do we communicate if we don't share the same? I mean, it's not even a matter of different spoken languages. I feel like she didn't really have she did. That's not fair. I'm sorry. She did. But, I don't get a sense that he became necessarily fluent in it. Did he? The way they communicated was interesting to watch. Yeah, I agree. The way that all unfolded was surprising. I didn't think they'd go there. They did. And then he had to walk away. So.
Yeah. And, it's kind of thing where, like, she's savage, but she's not an animal. And he actually, learned from her and found peace in hunting.
Yeah. And had some gross animal skinning scenes.
Yeah. And, it's the kind of thing, like, the moment Alistair returns and shows up, you're like, oh no, this is over. Oh.
Yes, exactly. My heart just sunk. Also, that guy's a jerk. He's the bad guy in we're watching The Order right now on Netflix. It's only okay, but he's the bad guy in that. So when he turned up here, I was just like, nope, don't trust him. Do not trust him. And it was right. I was right.
So yeah,
it's just one of those synchronicities sometimes when the shows you're watching overlap.
So yeah, and you saw Ernest follow the beard into this weird underground staircase, and that creepy doll version of Niles, and it's the same monster that we saw in 1913. So yeah, what does it mean?
I don't know. And also I wondered, did they I had questions about the beard formation on the doll, and then I realized I didn't really want to know. It's better to not know.
Yeah. All right. And Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, and Jodfers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what does he want with that creature? And is Niles really willing to sacrifice the Doom Patrol to keep her safe?
I don't know. 1918 was a long time ago. Then again, they really loved each other.
Yeah, I think he still loves her, man. All right. Was there anything more you wanted to say about the episode?
No, I did not expect any part of this episode, but I guess I could say that about every single episode of Doom Patrol.
All right. And there was no news for Doom Patrol, right?
Correct.
Okay. On to news for other shows.
Okay. Well, to start, This circles back to a conversation Ed and I had on the special DC movie report about Shazam. But I have very important John Cena news. For those of you who want to keep track, it looks like he might play Peacemaker in Suicide Squad 2. I just felt like we had a long conversation about John Cena not playing certain roles, and it looks like maybe he's going to join the DC universe, not the streaming network, but just like in general, in Suicide Squad 2. So.
Sarah, that's a movie. It's not a TV show.
I know. But I felt like everybody needed to know what John Cena's up to. I think he's delightful, and this could be good, especially because James Gunn is directing. So I'm all about it. All right, that's it for John Cena news.
Now on to news for other shows.
The DC TV and John Cena report. All right. Batwoman
music.
So Deadline took a look at the very early buzz on shows for next season of television, and they say that Batwoman is basically a lock to be a series on the CW next year, which I think we all kind of know. They seem really committed to Batwoman, but yeah, Deadline officially says it's a lock. We will see Batwoman in the fall or whenever it premieres, but we will see it next year. That, of course, is not official from the CW, but Ed, Batwoman.
Fingers crossed. We'll know for sure. You know, the upfronts are in May, so we should know in a few weeks.
Yeah. So bad news, that's the only good news for shows of the week, frankly, because we're going to move into some sort of dire news for some other shows. Are you ready?
No, but okay.
All right. Let's start with Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
You may have seen this online, but looks like production shut down abruptly on Swamp Thing, and it's going to be shortened from 13 episodes to 10 episodes. They're going to rewrite and do some reshoots to give a proper ending to episode 10. And I assume that means a proper ending to the show as a whole. It looked like the actors were taken by surprise. I know I certainly was taken aback by it. Ed, 13 down to 10. No word about season 2. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is distressing. I mean, we won't know. What's also weird is like when the service launched, you know, I've heard interviews and stuff with people who work for DC, and they were like extremely taken aback that the biggest fan response they got was for Swamp Thing. Like they just thought it was going to be this quirky show, and they are baffled that like evidently this is the show that everyone is actually really excited to see. I think it's the thing that's disappointing, and the thing I think gives this credibility, is Virginia Madsen, the actress, was put a post on Instagram and then you know quickly took it down, but saying that she was really surprised and disappointed that it's going on. Some people have been speculating that this might be bad for DC Universe. Mm-hmm. Although I looked up on this, and there was a Slash Film article saying that, you know, that they have good sources saying that this doesn't reflect anything on the DC Universe app. This is solely about the Swamp Thing show.
Well, I hope that's the case, because I was a little worried too. You know, the level of talent they have involved, it has to be massively expensive, and I don't know how many people subscribe, so I was a little worried about that, but it's good to hear that some of those early rumors have sort of been walked back. Yeah, Virginia Madsen said something about people who've never been in the swamp canceling it, so I got a sense that there was some frustration that this order came down from on high from people who haven't really been following the show's production as well. I mean, I'm sure they have been, but I thought it was kind of interesting. She also said something like, we're not allowed to use this hashtag, but I'm going to hashtag Swamp Thing. So it makes you wonder what the cast was told and what they were told not to share. It all sounded sketchy and disheartening.
Yeah, however, it is still premiering on May 31st, and we will be covering it. They did put out a teaser, which is literally just an image of Swamp Thing rising up out of the swamp. One thing I noticed is that it's very dark. It's difficult to see, and I am shocked that it doesn't look like there's any CG assistance, which leads me to believe that maybe they didn't like the dailies or something with the effects, that they feel that the look of the show may not be what they wanted. I don't know. That's pure speculation on my part. But I was kind of disappointed that we didn't really get a clear look at Swamp Thing because it was so dark. It's just, you can't really see his face. You just see the red eyes peeking out from beneath there. But yeah, it was yeah. Sarah, what did you think of that tease?
I thought it looked great. I was excited. I was pleased that it exists at all because it means, I mean, they were clearly trying to be like, no, he's still coming. It's good. We're good. It's cool. Nothing to see here. So I guess I appreciate the effort at making us worry less, although we still worry. Worry.
All right.
Okay. We're gonna. Next is Titans. So this is just to say that Titans. We saw several bits of footage from the set, some of it official and some of it not. We saw some official Hawk and Dove season 2 footage on social that looked like it was out there on purpose, and then we saw some definitely leaked footage of Ian Glenn as Bruce Wayne. We saw some footage of Slade Wilson's daughter Rose that also looked kind of leaked. I don't know, my thought with Titans is get your on-set security in order. What's going on?
Yeah,
lock down those cell phones.
Get it together, people. Really, come on.
And none of the footage is useful. It's just seeing the characters. I mean, we saw what Bruce Wayne is going to look like. It looks like Ian Glenn in a business suit. Spoilers. So.
All right.
But yeah, Titans, get it together.
Next disappointment?
Oh, actually, no, we have a good one, and then we'll do the last disappointment. The good one is Krypton. We have a premiere date for Krypton Season 2, and that will be June 12th.
Thank God it wasn't in May.
I know.
Okay.
So that's Wednesday, second week of June. That'll be back. Hopefully all of our other shows will be resting, so we will not have Krypton on top of the million shows that we cover.
Did they say what how many episodes? I think it's or just that it's premiering in June 12th.
I just saw that it was premiering June 12th. I did not see an episode number count. That's a good question. I kind of assumed 10. Was that what they did last year?
Yeah. I think it's probably going to be 10. Just curious, but yeah, that's good to know.
IMDb is telling me 10, so I am willing to trust IMDb on that. I shouldn't; they're often wrong, but
I guess that means for for June and July, we will have we'll have Krypton as well as Swamp Thing and iZombie all going at once. So even through the summer, we're still going to be going strong.
Sorry, Batman the Animated Series. I was looking forward to getting back to you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so last bit of news, and this is again more bad news. Why on FX.
Music.
Michael Green and Ada Mashaka Kroll are out as showrunners, and FX is looking for new showrunners to helm the adaptation of Why the Last Man. Ed, what do you think?
I mean, this is really surprising just because so many of the actors who were involved with that show were praising the script. And a lot of people were excited. I'm just very confused right now. I mean, we were saying that this show was looking to come out early 2020. With a shakeup like this, I think it's also the kind of thing where you might see people opt out. If they don't find another showrunner, or if they're not happy with it, could they decide to drop the project altogether?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here. Actors who signed on. You saw that with The Walking Dead when Frank Darabont left. You saw some actors who also sort of followed pretty quickly. So you have that. You have the network's confidence in the show itself. If you can't find a good showrunner, this has such a troubled production history. It went from, what is it? Brian K. Vaughan just got the rights back and was able to do this, but it had been tied up in development with movies, with companies that wanted to do one movie rather than a trilogy. And I think it's just, this feels like a show that's destined to never make it to the screen. Do you think the creative difference was over CGI ampersand? Do you think the network was like, no, you got to have a real monkey, and they were like, no, we want to see, or vice versa? I'm kidding.
I don't know. Well, the thing that's also surprising, like in all of the articles, the descriptions are all talking about the women on the show, and I'm surprised like Yorick does not seem to be mentioned at all, even though he's the title character.
He's outnumbered.
Yeah.
Well, and what was interesting was that when Green and Kroll were helming it, they said they wanted to use the show to comment on things today. So I don't know if they were wanting to make more of a political or social statement than FX wanted. That was the only thing I had seen that was brought up again then in this coverage here. On the flip side, I was listening to the podcast TV's Top 5 with Dan Feinberg, and he was talking about how FX is not afraid to tinker with shows behind the scenes to get it right before it premieres. So, for example, Mayans MC is the Sons of Anarchy spinoff that just had its first season air. They reshot the pilot. They replaced the director. They kind of had some shakeups off screen to make sure the pilot was exactly what they wanted, and the leadership behind the camera was exactly what they wanted before they moved forward. So, FX saying, no, we're going to fix this now is not that weird from what I understand for FX. They want it right before they premiere it. They're not one of those networks that you go through 80 different showrunners. They try to get it right the first time. So this could just be a course correction, par for the course for FX. They'll bring somebody in. I will say, I think pretty highly of Michael Green. I think he's done some interesting things. He was on American Gods. He did some Smallville. He did Logan and Alien Covenant. He also did Green Lantern. I mean, like, it's not all perfect, but Blade Runner 2049. So we'll see. I was pleased with the pedigree, disappointed with this news, but I'm choosing to be optimistic.
All right. We'll see. I am not so confident. But
sad trombone.
All right. Okay. Was that the only news for this week? Or was that the?
Was that not enough of an emotional roller coaster for you? Yeah, that's
man.
For the
man.
week. Also, can I congratulate us? 5 episodes and some news, and we're under an hour 15. Go us.
Yeah. All right. Time to bring it home with the winners for the week.
I can go first because mine's pretty obvious and pretty easy to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow, the whole episode, the singing, the dancing, the Jane Austen, the romance, Ray's Jim Jams, all of it, all of Legends of Tomorrow. It was joyful and happy and love-centric and relationshipy, and I loved it. All right, you go.
All right, so I tried to find a theme this week, and my theme was uneasy alliances. So basically you found out that, Constantine confirmed that, Hank, made a mistake trusting Desmond, and Neron. And then on Arrow, Laurel hooked up with Shadow Thief, and Flash. We've got to see Nora and why she was working with Thawne. Gotham, everyone came together, even though no one trusts anybody, to save the city. And Doom Patrol, Vic and Rita decided that they had to trust Beard Hunter, or at least trust that he would be able to find Niles. So yeah, I think I might have I've used that as a winner for the week before, but it popped up again, and I felt like it was prevalent.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so sorry that this is a podcast and nobody can see my face every time you come up with a theme. Every time I'm just like, oh, that's good. Yeah.
All right. We did a podcast, Sarah.
We did a podcast.
Yes.
The DC TV and John Cena report is now complete.
All right. Cool. So that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!